Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is JJ. Hope you guys are having a beautiful Friday. Today's we're going to be discussing about the second house in your natal chart. If you have not watched the first house, I would suggest that you watch it. It will be linked in the description or it will be in the little eye on top of the video. With that being said, I do want to say that this is from my perspective, and of course, it will not cover everything that the second house entails, not in depth, but it is an overview of it and what certain planets in your second house would mean for you. But of course, this is just from my observation, from what I have gathered through my clients and through the things that I've observed as well through my friends and family, because I've always been into astrology. So let's get into it. What is the second house? So the second house is all about the things that you own, right? It is the house of Taurus. So the ruling planet is Venus, and it rules the eyes, everything from the lower part of your face, right? Remember, the first house was anything above, and the second house is anything below. So your nose, your lips, your teeth, your chin, your cheeks. But it also has to do with your teeth, your nails, your tongue, etc. Right? So the second house is all about our material goods. It's all about our wealth, our possessions. It's also about our self-worth, right? What we value within ourselves, but also in the things that we own. And it does talk about your young siblings as well, your relationship with them. It's also your ability of how you earn your income. And of course, for this, we would have to look at the sixth house, the 10th house, and your 11th house. But this definitely does play a part. And this is all about your material desires. What is it that you desire? What is it that, again, you value in life? It does speak about things that we do own, but not only physically, but our emotions, our feelings, and like I said, our self-esteem as well. So our needs and our wants, right? So let's talk a little bit about the planets there. So the planets there, let's start with the sun. So if you have the sun in your second house, you tend to be seen as someone who definitely takes a lot of pride in your possessions. You're always talking about the things that you own, that you have. You might be seen as a little bit materialistic. And you do, like I said, you definitely, your ego is attached to the things that you possess and that you own. It makes you feel really, really good when it comes to the things that you earned, or that you value. You're like, oh yeah, I own this land, or I have this amount of, or I just got a new car. Like, this is the people who have sun in Leo, a sun in Leo, sun or Leo in your second house. But let's remember, the sun does tend to burn as well, anything that is near it. So, people with sun in the first house, we do have to be careful that we do not overspend. Okay. But people can definitely see you as being a little bit egoic. But for the sun being there, money is definitely important for you guys, and it comes with a self identity. Your identity is attached to the things that you own and that you possess. Okay. Now, for people who have moon the in the second house, so it's very interesting, because people who have moon in the second house, they are emotionally attached to their possessions. They're the ones that can, have that emotional attachment to their home. They can have an emotional attachment to something that someone gave them, or for example, let's say you worked so hard and you're like, no, this holds emotional value to me because I remember this was the first thing that I bought with my paycheck, or the first thing I bought with my first job. They have that emotional attachment to them. And so they do tend to have fluctuations with their income as well, because the moon does tend to be cyclical, right? And it does go through its cycles. And also the moon represents fears and insecurities. So also, having the moon here, it can be that you are someone who definitely worries about, losing your job or losing your income or losing your stability in some way, as well as having your moon here. Like I said, we can be very indulgent as well with the moon being here, because the moon likes to feel comfortable. So the moon here, you can definitely overspend in people that you love, your kids, your spouse, your home, whatever it is that you seem like comfort to you. And like I said, but with the moon there, when things don't go well financially, like let's say there are hurdles or you lose your job or something like this, you guys will feel it for sure. Your well-being, your emotional well-being is attached to your income, to your money. Okay. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, we live in a world where we're very much ruled by money. So, don't, it's not like an egoic thing, like the sun will be there. Like if you have the sun there, but the moon is more of like your emotions are attached to it, and your mind too, like your thoughts. You're constantly thinking about, am I stable? Am I going to be okay? Because again, that is a big concern for people who have moon in the second house, and they might work in regards to something with healing, something with caretaking for someone else, and that can take many different avenues, and it can look differently for everyone. Now, if you have Mercury in your second house, like I do, then you're someone who is, first of all, you might communicate for a living. Okay. You might do something where you are teaching something, or you get your income based on a skill that you have. They're very crafty with their money. Because remember, Mercury can be very witty as well, very clever. They're very skilled as well as managing their money. They value efficiency. Okay. They do value efficiency, ingenuity. I can't say that word, but like they're very, se las ingenian. I don't know how you say it in English. Like I have the word here, but I can't pronounce it. Ingenuity? No, wait. You guys are getting behind the scenes when I'm like trying to pronounce something on YouTube or on Patreon, and I'm like, I don't know how you say it. Ingenuity. I think it is ingenuity. Yeah. Okay, you guys might do something like based on technology as well. Very good at sales too. But the thing here with Mercury in your second house, or if you have Virgo in your second house, you might get bored. Okay, you might get bored. And remember, Mercury is very skilled, is the jack of all trades. So here it can be really good if you own this energy and you hold it at its highest potential, then you can definitely create different streams of income, because you're like, oh, I can do this, 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 and this, and you're pulling money from all directions. You can do something with your hands as well. Mercury does rule the hands, something with your mind. It can be like communication, language, writing books, blogging, all of this good stuff. But it can also, because it can get bored, it might be very hard for someone who has a Mercury or Virgo here to stay put in one job, okay, or in one field. Like they like diversity. Now, if you have Venus in your second house, then Venus is at home here. Remember, this is ruled, Taurus rules the second house, and so Venus is the ruling planet. And let me just say, you guys have impeccable taste. So if you have Libra as well here, that is also Venus is your ruling planet. But you do have an appreciation for fine things in life. Okay. You like to indulge. Let's be honest here. You do love to shop. You might do something creative, something with themes around Venus as well. You might work with others. You might work in like, what is it? Marketing, things like this, where you're working with other people. And Venus does tend to overspend. But what I do see here when we have Venus in the second house, I do see that, there's not really a lot of worry about money. And the reason for that is because remember, Venus is the law. It is in conjunction with the law of attraction. So Venus somehow always manages to get the money that they need. They attract it to them. Also, people who have Venus in the second house, they tend to be, like I said, very creative, but they're also my models. They're also, it's like you receive money through the way you look, through the way people see you. People just want to give you money. They see you as high value as well, with Venus in the second house. And you like I said, you like to indulge, you like good things. So if you have those, just blend them. So for example, you might have several planets there. So you might do different things and they all communicate with one another, right? So for example, I'll give you my example. I have Mercury and Venus in my second house, Western wise. And so that right there, it can talk about like you're creating money or different avenues through something creative with Venus being there, right? So you got to look at how these planets are talking to each other. What is the relationship like? For Mars, for example, here, if you have Mars in your second house, then you have to do something that you're passionate about, okay? Because Mars is willing to take risks to get what they want and to achieve the things that they want, as well as they're great at entrepreneurship, but also that's why we keep saying, or I keep saying, make sure you do something that you absolutely love, because if you don't, Mars is going to have a hard time doing it. But they're very determined, and Mars will hold tight to their possessions. They will. And if you're going anything against it, they will put up a fight for it. Okay. They're not going to toy around their stuff, their money, the things that they've earned. And they're definitely, they do value also someone or assertiveness as well. That is something that is seen here with Mars in the second. Mars in the second, also, you could be something like a personal trainer. You could be someone who does something like action oriented to earn your money as well. Now we're going to look at Jupiter. So Jupiter in the second house, this is a very beautiful placement because Jupiter expands things and it represents growth and luck and risk taking. But Jupiter also is a double-edged sword because Jupiter can also overindulge, right? It can be a little bit of flighty as well if it's not in its best vibration. But if you have Jupiter there, you have strong possibility of gaining wealth. Okay, you do, of becoming rich, of becoming, someone with status in the world. You might also, with Jupiter, if you're a female, you might earn your income with working with a spouse or your partner, or through marriage. Okay, that is something that it is seen with Jupiter being in the second house. Also, it can represent windfalls. All of a sudden, you're doing really good, you get money here and there, and it's like, lucky opportunities and money. Okay, also, as well, for some of you might teach, you might teach others. There's something that you do with the wisdom that you have. This is like my life coaches. I see a lot of life coach here in Jupiter in the second house. Not all of them, but yeah, many of them. For others, with Jupiter being here, it's like you have a vision and you go after that vision, and that's how you make your money, or you sell visions to something, like, let's say you're marketing, or you come up with ideas, and so you sell these ideas to other people. Now, Uranus in the second house, this one here, it makes an individual who makes their money in a very unique, creative way. Okay, this is like something online through an app. Definitely, it can include sudden changes in your finances. There's ups and downs with your finances, but most of all, I feel like it's just you do a lot of things that are very different than other people. You tend to push the boundaries too when it comes to how you make your money, but it's something very unique, very different, something that other people don't do. Okay. Now, if we have Saturn here, well, when we have Saturn in the second house, Saturn talks about restrictions and it talks about time. So when you have Saturn in your second house, you can definitely, the first half of your life, you're going to be you're going to be working a lot. You're going to feel like you're working, and you're not accumulating much. At least that's what it's going to feel like, right? You're going to be overworking. You might feel like at the beginning, like I'm not making progress. You might have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of duties financially as well. But you might feel like your success or your money is going to take time. You're like, what? I'm doing all this and I'm not getting it. But you got to remember that if you have Saturn here, Saturn will bless you. And usually is when Saturn matures, which is after the age of 30. Over the age of 30, Saturn does really great. So, it's like when you're going to see your finances improve, it's because Saturn, it wants to teach you first the lessons around money and the things that you value before he blesses you with all the good stuff, your harvest. And, but Saturn being there definitely will bless you with a secure financial life. And you guys value, responsibility, you guys value discipline and stability. So you're definitely always striving for that. Now, if you have Neptune in your second house, this is my camera peeps. I like to call them like that because they do really well online. So they might be like as well on social media in some way, or they might be on television or in the entertainment industry. They might be doing something spiritual, something holistic, something artistic. They might be doing like books, things like fantasy, right? As well as they what I usually get with Neptune in the second house, though, we have to be careful that we don't use that money to escape, because it can happen. Remember, Neptune does rule Pisces. So, if we can't indulge in that way as well. So we just have to be careful with that Neptune in the second house. But for artistic endeavors and getting paid for it, or just being online, or providing some type of healing services, or going on a healing path to create your money, fantastic. Okay, those are the things that you value the most. But lastly, here is we have Pluto. So Pluto is one of those things that is tricky in your second house. It can lead to great status in the world. Pluto can lead to, in my personal opinion, millionaires, billionaires, people who have a lot of power and control. They always strive for that power and control, especially when it's in your second house, because there is a strong attachment and maybe even obsession with money. But I also can see sometimes Pluto, we can go really, really high and all of a sudden they lose it, right? Because of the wanting to control and the power aspect of it. And so they become very obsessive with their money. And this is because they become afraid that they might lose it, especially if you start off with not having it and then you get a little bit, it's like you want to hold on to it. You're like, this is mine. So, they can become very obsessed with finances and everything that they own. But in a positive note, we're talking about large gains and a big status in the world. And what they value is, all the little, like, the fact that people don't know what they own. The fact that they're like, you don't know how much I actually do have, that type of thing, that to them brings them a lot of value. And they love the aspect of like, I have control, right? And that's the thing, like the control of like the fact that you don't know, or they might be very controlling as well with their finances, with their spouses or with their kids. It's like they're the ones that run the bills, they're the ones that run all the financial things in the home. But that is what I have for you guys in regards to the second house. I do hope that this was helpful. I do hope that it changed or brought a new perspective into the planets that you do have in your second house. And I will see you guys in the third. Bye.